Hello and welcome to Load Bearing Beams, a movie podcast hosted by a married couple, me and Laci. I'm Matt.
And I'm Laci.
Hello, Laci.
Oh, hey.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
Good to talk to you.
Great.
We are doing today The Devil's Rejects, a Rob Zombie film.
Joint.
Rob Zombie joint. Was this your Load Bearing Beams, Laci?
No!
Well, it wasn't mine. So could it have been?
I don't know, but I'm frightened. Who are you?
I heard a little chuckle. Let's bring him in from the Frightmares podcast, Austin Proctor. He's digging through the ditches. He's burning through the witches. Here he is.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Big fan of the show. So
thank you so much.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Very excited to be here.
Glad we
First
picked
time,
up the
long time.
call. I was like, who's this? And we picked it up. Austin, tell everybody about your great podcast, Frightmares.
And what you have in common with us.
What do we have in common
I-
besides
it's-
loving
it's-
movies?
It's insignificant, really. The addition of a lady. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's
You have
true.
one of those
That's
lady
true.
podcasts.
One of those lady podcasters. I
you
also
go.
podcast with my wife. She's
Yes.
usually on once or twice a month. We are on every major streaming platform, Apple Podcasts. You know the rest if you are into podcasts. We do one horror movie a week. This year, we actually have a theme for the entire year where we are going back to 1975 and doing one movie per year until we get to 2025. I'm also watching every Oscar winner for each year, which was a really dumb goal I set for myself because I am not enjoying most of them. But
So
yeah,
wait,
it's
so right now, your most recent episode is The Shining. The one
Yep.
before that, that was Alien. So you're in the 80s now, and you are in a bad time for Best Picture winners. Now, there's never been a great time for Best Picture winners.
This is one of Matt's hot takes just in general about the Oscars.
well, that's
Ooh, okay.
that's just like everybody agreed. Like Best Picture, like always goes to a stinker.
Don't tell me what's normal.
Okay, it's not
I am
normal.
the normie on this
I came up
fucking
with this
podcast.
idea.
Okay.
I think it's gotten a little better recently. But what did you think of Ordinary People? What did you think of Kramer versus Kramer?
So Ordinary People was a snooze fest. I'm sorry, and you'd think it would be still relatable today. It's about mental health and all that stuff, but snoozer for me. Kramer versus Kramer, I was hating it until the end when it worked out, and I was like, all right, I'm a fan of this, and I like the relationship between Dustin Hoffman and his son. It was a nice relationship that blossomed. It was great, but Deer Hunter, not that great. There was another one, wasn't that great. One flew
Annie Hall.
Annie Hall, yeah, not a fan of that one. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Rocky. And we started off great because those were the first two I watched, and I was like, okay, maybe my opinion on the Oscars will change. It has not. It gets worse and worse and worse. So I'm in the thick of it now, and I can't turn back.
It's very cute in that episode of his podcast because he literally tells you the plot of Rocky as if people don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it's
didn't
like
know
a
the
little
ending
boy
to Rocky.
discovering lightning.
No, it's how
for
people.
the
It's like that
first
movie
time.
Creed. You little people probably have seen the movie Creed. It's like that.
I just was funny to hear someone like, and then he doesn't even win. Oh my God.
Had no clue.
Until about 8 years ago, I don't remember what changed, but something changed. I would have said Annie Hall is like my favorite movie of all time. A certain thing
Do you want me
happened
to tell you what happened?
about 8 years ago. I was like, this guy's movies I can't say are my favorite anymore.
So molesty.
Yeah.
And I'd ruin them by pointing out that he purposely makes the kissing noises audible in a way that no other movies do. And if you don't like mouth noises, like I don't like that.
Yeah, nope, not a fan.
Plus, he always calls it making love. We're supposed, come on, Annie Hall, we're supposed to be making love. But back to horror.
Oh, that's horrible for me, but yes.
Back to horror. Do you have like a favorite subgenre or filmmaker or era of horror movies?
Subgenre will probably be, and this is most people aren't fans of found footage. I love found footage. It's probably because my first like theatrical experience with horror was Cloverfield. Like that's the first one I remember going to see. Found footage, paranormal, love those. Love a good slasher. Favorite director of the modern age would probably be Mike Flanagan. And of the 80s, I mean, I don't want to be basic and say John Carpenter, but I mean, the man just didn't miss in the 80s. So I think I'm going to go Carpenter for classic.
There's a good reason to go with Carpenter. Yeah, it's not
Let's not call it basic. Let's call it fundamental.
It's fun. That's
okay.
perfect, Laci. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And I kind of think when I look at a movie like The Devil's Rejects, I think the ideal execution of a movie like this, I think, would be done by John Carpenter because he can handle the violence, the gore, the social commentary. but I don't want to spoil what it is I think about this movie, but I think it would just be a little more fun from Carpenter.
Okay.
Spicy.
But wait. Speaking of found footage, you interviewed the co-director of the Blair Witch Project, did you not?
I did. We had him on in November for the Blair Witch, and actually he's coming back. I don't know when this will be released, but he's coming back at the end of this month, February, to do talk about Exist, which is his Bigfoot found footage movie. If you've never seen that, highly recommend.
That sounds fun as hell. Yeah, if I had to pick what's the best found footage movie, it's a fundamental answer. I would just say the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Well,
great movie. We did it on the podcast 2 years ago.
Yes. Remind me how old you are.
I'm 34, so born in 1990. Yeah.
So not too far off, but I was in high school, I think, right when the Blair Witch Project came out. So like I was the core demographic for I thought it was real. So that was like the coolest way to go to the theater and see it. And I was PR'd too.
Well, I was too, but I was like at an age where I heard that it's real, and I remember thinking I will never in a billion years see that movie. That looks way too spooky.
And then once you were 24,
I watched
you got
it a few
your
years
mom.
later. I've never found it very scary, but it's just so great. It's just a great movie.
It's fucking scary. Just being wet and outdoors.
Well, that's true. I don't want to be either of those things.
Because it takes what's uncomfortable about nature and about admitting when you're lost, or admitting when there's a point of no return, that you need to blame people because everyone kind of fucked up. It's more like an investigation of like how people break down when you take away their stuff.
Oh yeah, they turn on each other very fast, and that's what I found so realistic. Don't talk to me like that. You don't tell me what I know.
I'm wet, and not in the right way.
And there was such an alchemy to when they made it, because they made the 2016 Blair Witch movie, which is also found footage, but now cameras are so great that their found footage is just in 4K super high resolution. I'm like, this just looks like a movie.
Yeah, and it's basically the same story, just updated. And instead of not showing really anything in the 2016 one, they show you everything, probably a little too much. But I think they did that and they got a lot of pushback from the studio on what they wanted from Adam Wingard. So yeah, it's one of those where the studio got in the way and they showed way too much. So
I do kind of like that movie, but that's my big takeaway is like you just lose some of the magic with this being shot on such high quality cameras, even though these are the kinds of cameras people will be wandering around with. But let's talk a little bit about Rob Zombie and The Devil's Rejects, which you brought to our attention. So tell us why you picked this movie and what your history is with Rob Zombie.
Oh, man. So I remember when we had initially talked about doing a collaboration, you were like, pick a movie. And I'm like, oh, God, well, I don't even know where to start. So I picked, I think, 10 or 12. And I'm like, here you go. You decide from this, because it's so hard for me to just narrow it down to one. And I remember you guys saying The Devil's Rejects, because I think something about you guys had watched it a while ago and weren't fans and wanted to revisit, something along those lines. And I was excited because I talked about this one on my podcast a couple years ago, but it had been a while. But my history with Rob Zombie, I didn't see House of a Thousand Corpses or this first. I'm pretty sure the first Rob Zombie movie I saw was Halloween 2007, and that was in theaters because I was working at the theater at the time. So once I saw that, then I kind of went backwards in his filmography and started watching stuff that was prior to 2007. And I can't explain why I like such vile movies. I do have some theories as to why that we'll probably get into later, but just something about his aesthetic and the characters that he creates. I don't know. I found myself weirdly rooting for them when you really shouldn't be rooting for these people, because they're they're just not good people. And then pretty much followed his career since 2007. And there's really not a movie he's put out that I'm not, 31, I think, is the only one that I'm like, about. But I'm a Rob Zombie defender. I'm one of those people that will defend him because I enjoy what he does. It's gritty, it's raw, it's something that you don't see in film a lot. Usually you go to a movie to escape normal life and watch fantasy, sci-fi, or whatever it is. But he brings kind of a realist side of like, this is probably shit that happens out there somewhere in the world. And I just don't think people want to go to the movies and see such atrocious things. But here I am defending this man. So
I picked this movie because I had never seen it, and I don't think Laci has seen it. You had?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I realized halfway through that this is the one and only movie I'd seen of his, and why I'd never watched another one.
But
okay.
it's just
I was like 19. I mean, I was young.
his filmography is a sort of a blind spot for me as a horror fan, other than his Halloween movies, which I don't really like.
That's fair.
I saw his Halloween in theaters twice for some reason. Oh, it's because my dad has weirdly always been. My dad doesn't keep up with modern movies, but anytime a Halloween movie comes out, he's like, "Matt, you going to see that? I'm going to come." And then he falls asleep 2 minutes into the movie. But it was just like a Halloween movie was coming out, so I went and saw it with him. And I think I like his Halloween 2 better because it feels like way more his own thing. But I didn't really know what is the Rob Zombie thing other than gore, other than hardcore. Being a fan of his music when I was younger, which I was. I mean, I had Hellbilly Deluxe. It was a giant. I had it on CD, like from '98 to 2001. He was kind of omnipresent on MTV and all the music channels, and I listened to that album a lot. And I loved the like horror movie aesthetic of that album and of his music videos. But until a few days ago, I had only ever seen his Halloween movies. Now I've seen this and Lords of Salem. What about you, Laci?
So I think I'm pretty sure this is the only one, unless I watched any on accident. Halloween H2O, that's not him. Thank God. Okay. Okay, but I always had great affection for him the same way I do for Marilyn Manson and Dennis Rodman. And like, I just love the spectacle of the maximalist approach to just fucking life. I love how much he's doing. And what I like in Rob Zombie is what I like in Alice Cooper, and that I can tell there's a man behind, like that is a mask. He's, to me, Marilyn Manson, probably because I read the book way too many fucking times. I know that that's just how that guy is, but for Rob Zombie, I'm like, he wants to hug me. That's a sweetheart. He's a scary sweetheart, and I love that. Every day's Halloween for him, but he'll give me a Coke if I need it, you know?
He said he wanted to, as a kid, he wanted to be a combination of Alice Cooper, Steven Spielberg, and Stan Lee. Those were his big things.
Okay, he achieved one. No, okay. I mean, I like his directing style, which is weird. Like, we'll get into it, but I can tell I'm watching something that's being directed well and still be very uncomfortable to the point of, do I ever watch this again? So I have appreciation for his craft. He's a very creative person.
What about his music, both of you? Were you fans of his music?
I mean, there's not a ton of it, but what I heard I liked. And his music videos particularly.
Yeah, music videos were great. I always saw those on MTV. I didn't really grow up. I saw him on MTV more as a kid, and then when I got older, I got more into his stuff. But yeah, there's not too much out there, but what I have heard, I do enjoy. It's definitely my speed.
I had Hellbilly Deluxe on CD, and I remembered, I just now remembered because I'm looking at the image on my screen. I had the edited version that I got from Walmart or whatever, but the only thing that was edited, it was not in the music, it's just the cover art. And the only difference is there's no pentagram on the edited version.
Such a heavy lift for the graphic designer.
There is one on like the real album.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I love, what I really, really appreciate, you can feel the love for the genre and for just movies in general. And I think like Quentin Tarantino, who also is an omnivore for all of his stuff and makes movies that are sort of pastiches of movies that he loves. Because you watch Devil's Rejects and you're like, yeah, so this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Bonnie and Clyde or The Wild Bunch or something. You hope that it can rise above just me paying tribute to the things that I love. What he does that Quentin Tarantino also does is goes and gets the people who were in those movies and gives them work now. So Ken Foray is in this movie and PJ Souls.
Obviously
and Bill Moseley. Yeah. And I just love that it's not just that he loves the genre. He knows these things are made by people.
He's not trying to put gloss on top of and use tricks that people who were not as well funded had to use to get really good, which is what he's really paying homage to, and then putting expensive actors on top. He's actually playing with the same tools that they had.
And like the thing you love about directors, Laci, is when you find out he has like a company of actors who come with him to each movie, not just his wife.
Because he's a nice man, because he's a good boss. I love it.
I'm here for it.
I like it when he's sweet.
And yeah, so I watched Lords of Salem, which I had heard is his best movie. I'd heard from some film people that I trust that that's his best movie, and I really, really enjoyed it. But I can also I think that that movie could never have been a hit. It is just way too moody and kind of light on plot, but like that's exactly what I like. I like a mood piece. I like to see a lot of surreal imagery. I like a trippy movie, and I thought there was just so much craft in that movie. This one, I'd say I like it, and I see what he's going for, but I think that what is ultimately missing from this movie
It's heart.
Well, not heart. I can see very much like a commentary on violence in America and people sort of rejecting American bourgeois values. And then you have the cop who's chasing them, who turns out like is probably more evil than they are. And so maybe at a time, a movie made during the War on Terror, we're all feeling like there's no morality anywhere in the world. But what it's missing is me rooting for anybody.
And that's all I mean.
But you said, Austin, that you are rooting for the family. I find them too annoying to root for.
They aren't funny. Like they aggravate each other. What pulls it together, what gives me the... Now that I know where the movie was going, I could watch it a second time and like relax and enjoy it. But once they get to the most uncomfortable spot with, the hotel room stuff, I don't trust it. I'm like, I can't, I'm barely holding on to my sanity right now. Where's this fucking going? And then all of a sudden it relaxes and then I like it. Anyway, what works for me is baby and daddy. Like that they're the relationship I buy. But then you get to fucking was it Copper? Was it Potter?
Otis?
Cutter? Oh,
Cutter
Cutter's
is
daddy's
the
name.
dad.
Otis.
Cutter's,
When you
yeah.
get to Otis just fucking hates everybody. I don't, he's the one that's even in the misfits, he misfits. So it's just he makes everyone cranky. I need Otis to calm down.
So you're not a fan of Otis, but you enjoy Baby and Captain Spaulding, Cutter, whatever you want to call them.
The way they interact, I'm buying their world. They seem to be having fun together, and they seem to be like to impress each other and stuff. And I'm buying what keeps them bonded. But with the brother, I think everyone's scared of him and kind of trying to up their ante so that he doesn't turn on them. That's my read.
Interesting. Okay. I think my affinity for Bill Moseley might be what sways me to like him so much, just because I am a fan of him in TCM2, where he plays Chop Top. I love that role. I'm a fan of him in basically everything that he is in. So that might be why I think I like his character so much. And because I think this performance of Otis from Bill Moseley is just top tier. Even though he is kind of a curmudgeon, he does seem like he hates every single person, but he just convinces the hell out of me that he is this person in real life. And if you can give that kind of performance, it's just, I don't know. I think this is my favorite role that he has been in any movie, which might be saying, I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, I think his performance is great, and I love how much of a curmudgeon and kind of an asshole he is, which is weird because again, you're not supposed to like these people, and I can't. It's hard for me to explain why I'm like, yeah, go do evil things. Maybe that's just the those intrusive thoughts. I don't know.
The family in Texas Chainsaw 2 and him as Chop Top,
which I love.
Yeah, they're similarly evil, but I have so much affection for them. And part of it is, I think it's just a joy in performance.
And a vulnerability.
Yeah,
they are vulnerable.
I admire Rob Zombie for being so unapologetic about how evil these people are. Like, there's never a moment where it's like, well, they're doing this because they're not like noble gangsters. They will kill innocent people. They want to kill innocent people.
There's no reason behind it either. They're just like, we just like this.
No ideology whatsoever. So,
but in like TCM2, they turn a law-abiding, law-enforcing person into a complete psychopath. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I do like, I like the arc of the cop.
Wydell?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But okay, we should just get into it because fuck.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's just talk about Rob Zombie briefly. The man born Robert Cummings.
Oh,
in
why'd you change that?
1965. And Laci, he is 5'10".
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was at
Thought
least
he was
in the
taller.
Did you know that that Mr. Proctor here is 6'6"?
What?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't.
tall.
I need a scale by you.
Do people call you tiny?
Yeah, right. So this right here, this standee is about 6 feet tall. So I'll just go ahead and stand up here. You can see.
That's fucking crazy because you don't.
Oh, and I've got
tall.
my Devil's Rejects.
Ah,
shirt on.
looky there, and I'm wearing the kind of reject
Yes.
who you can love. No shade.
Fair enough.
We're all shade.
Fair enough. No shade taken. None at all.
Grew up in Haverhill, Massachusetts, outside of Boston, near Salem. And he said in a 2014 interview with flashbackfiles.com, link in the description, here's something he said about his upbringing. Quote, I think growing up as a kid, the question was like, how'd you get into all the shit you're into, you weirdo? He said, quote, I think growing up as a kid, I lived on the East Coast in an old New England town that looked like Sleepy Hollow, where there were lots of old cemeteries. So there was that look about everything. Also in the late 60s, there was a big boom of horror on television because that's where I saw everything. All the old Hammer films were on, the old Universal films. There were TV shows like The Munsters, The Addams Family, and The Twilight Zone. There was so much horror stuff. I think that all influenced me. End quote. Oh, his most recent movie was The Munsters. He made a remake of The Munsters.
Oh, I would check that out.
Also became obsessed with both heavy metal and punk rock. And he said like punk rock taught him like you can just do it yourself.
Right.
Which is like the whole idea.
DIY.
The whole idea of punk rock is that it's DIY. You only need 3 chords. You don't even need to be good at guitar.
But so is horror films. Like, I mean, so many people who are making their first film, they start with horror because that is the thing you can get visuals and use practical. You can do a lot if all you're trying to do is scare.
And there's always an audience for it.
All right, and it's light on dialogue because you can want to make film, but that doesn't make you a good writer. I'd say good writing's probably one of the harder parts.
I disagree.
Okay.
Fuck off. That's because you're a writer. Snob.
I think writing is overrated. So I do. Anyway, he moved to New York for college, attended the Parsons School of Design, and became a production assistant on Pee-wee's Playhouse. What?
He did the same thing that everyone on Project Runway does.
Parsons School of Design.
Get
That's
it,
a real
Queen.
thing.
Yes, it's where all the big designers go. But he was only
Oh,
he
I
was
think-
probably one of the only straight people there.
I assumed it was like
No.
like art design and graphic
No.
design and stuff.
Yes, but no.
Okay. Well,
Interesting.
it was at this time while working on Pee-wee's Playhouse, he met a lady named Sean Isolt in 1985, and they started dating and they formed a band together, White Zombie, which was named after the 1932 Bela Lugosi movie that is thought to be the original zombie movie. And she was the bassist, he was the singer. They rotated guitarists and drummers for a long time before they eventually settled down onto a lineup and got signed to a major label in 1992, had a big hit single and music video in Thunderkiss 65 in 93, I believe that was. Then they broke, Rob Zombie and the bassist, they broke up, but they kept working together. They had another big hit album in 95 with the hit single More Human Than Human.
Does he only date people and marry people that look like this?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And 1996, he changes his name legally to Rob Zombie. And then he launches his solo career. His album Hellbilly Deluxe instantly sells way better than White Zombie. So White Zombie breaks up. And yeah, obviously that album was a big hit, had big hits like Dragula and Living Dead Girl. And I was like 12 and 13 in this glorious era of nu metal. So this was a big staple for me.
Yeah, I miss nu metal. Like good, that era was so great for music, and I miss it dearly.
I love nu metal. I'd host a nu metal podcast. You could be on it if you want, or maybe we could host it together.
Let's do it. I'm so about that.
a thing I've been desperate to do is I want to get somebody. I want to play this game where we just play like the first 15 seconds of a nu metal song or just any like bad radio rock song from that era and see, can you tell me what this is?
Oh my
and how
God.
deep can we go?
Okay. I like this
Stimulating.
idea.
No, I know
like
nobody
this.
would like it but me.
I'll support you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So he began production on his first feature film, House of a Thousand Corpses, in 2000. And this came together when he was hired by Universal Studios to design an attraction for their Halloween horror nights. Yes, Laci.
Question: is there a scene in House of a Thousand Corpses where someone has to lay in a bathtub with dead parts or a dead person and is under a dead person? It's a bathtub full of parts, is my memory.
I just watched this last night and I'm already blanking. I know there's a room with a bunch of dead bodies, but I don't think it's specifically a bathtub. I could be entirely wrong.
Does
though.
someone hide under a dead body?
Yes.
Then that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Okay.
I can't believe I've seen 2.
So he designs this haunted house and calls it House of a Thousand Corpses. And Universal is very excited about it. So he goes and meets with their movie department and he pitches a movie based on the idea. And they get really excited. So they greenlight it. Gets a budget of about $10 million. But once the movie gets an NC-17 release, Universal pulls it from the release schedule and they just sit on it. And it goes unreleased for years. Rob Zombie eventually has to just buy the movie back from them. And then he sold it to Lionsgate. It came out in 2003. Let's see. It made $21 million it made its budget back basically like right away. So I think something like Terrifier, the Terrifier movies now, like they're not like Marvel level blockbusters, but they make their money and they have a very, very devoted fan base. And so right away Lionsgate's like, we want another one, make another one.
It's like every kid that was obsessed with Faces of Death went through this over and over and over. That's what it just seems like. Faces of Death, or am I saying the right thing? The one where real people are getting hurt?
Faces of Death, yeah.
Yeah, Faces of Death. It's like what anyone that was obsessed with that went to see this because it's the closest thing. That's how I remember the kids who saw this movie.
Never had any curiosity to see it at the time, but I was like, I became a movie snob in high school, but I was very much like, there's the canon of serious movies, and we're not going to go see.
Right, you didn't get into horror until you stopped.
Yeah, being
that
way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to know I'm not the only person that went through that snobby phase too. I went through this phase where if I was watching a new movie, it probably like in my mid to late 20s, where I was like, if this doesn't hook me in 30 minutes, I'm turning it off. That is a very weird way to live, and I missed out on a lot of good shit until I finally realized that's terrible to do with movies.
Okay, that actually at least is a process. Matt's process was that how did Siskel and or Ebert
No,
fail?
Just Ebert. That was pretty much
just Ebert.
No, and the most basic film critic to the most famous film critic in the world. It's like, if he likes it, I like it. But I would do this annoying thing with horror movies. It's like where it's like there are important horror movies, which basically means anything in a series. Like the first Halloween's good, but the rest must be garbage. But the sequels in all these franchises are great. I mean,
It's settling into
not
the vibe that
necessarily in the
makes them
same
good.
way.
Right.
Right.
But there's joy to be had.
Yeah.
He worked on his follow-up, The Devil's Rejects, which is a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
And we should have watched House of a Thousand Corpses, and I started to, and then I got very tired.
Did you get tired or did you get sad?
No, I hadn't gotten to a place where I was sad yet. In fact, I liked the vibes. It's like, oh, I love a freak show. I love a carnival. I love a scary clown.
I do love all those things.
So Austin, I mean, can you tell me about the relationship between these two movies?
Yes. So you've already, I should have known because you do so much research for the podcast, but that's something I was going to mention is how he started out doing a haunted house, then it went to a movie, and then it got shelved. But the relation between, and it's besides the fact that it's the same characters, there's a big relation in that there's a cop in the first movie, or, House of a Thousand Corpses. I can't remember. He's a Wydell, and he gets killed in that movie. George Wydell.
The bald guy. Okay.
Yeah. But then in Devil's Rejects, it's his brother, and because his brother got killed in the first movie, now his brother, whatever Wydell in Devil's Rejects is, he's coming to get vengeance on the family for killing his brother. So that's the connection between the two movies. And again, other than the family being the same, except Mother Firefly changed actresses because the original one wanted way too much money, so they had to find somebody else. So that's the big connection between the first two movies, and they take place a year apart. So House of a Thousand Corpses is 1977. This one is 1978.
Is it more? So I get a few minutes into The Devil's Rejects, and I realized, I thought this was a horror movie. Like, this is an action movie. Because it starts off with a gun shootout and guns and horror. No.
Did you not see all the bodies and then the fucking Otis sleeping with a dead person?
Well, yeah, that's horror imagery, but there's not. I would not say this is a horror movie. Is the first one more of a horror movie?
It's more of like it's so much more of a Texas Chainsaw movie. I mean, this one still vibes like that, I think, because it is set in the 70s and it's gritty. But the first one, you have a bunch of people coming to his house of attractions and they do the little ride there. And then they go down the road and end up meeting some more of the family that they don't really know is related. And then they have a dinner scene just like TCM. So it's very much vibes more like TCM than it does anything else. And again, the cast of characters are very reminiscent of characters from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So
you're making me realize something. It does kind of feel like maybe we need more things from the perspective of the victims for it to feel horror. Like, because if they're the ones in control, it's not, the horror part is when they're in the hotel for me, and the rest is not horror. Even if they're horrific, I'm not scared. So
it's honestly, it's listed as a Western too on IMDb, and I can totally get that vibe because, but I consider Devil's Rejects much more of a crime kind of drama than anything. There are horrific moments, but I think House of a Thousand Corpses definitely, I mean, they have a character in that called Dr. Satan, and it is literally the stuff of night. Like, he's experimenting on people and doing all this shit. So I would say yes, House of a Thousand Corpses probably vibes much more like a horror movie, because it is also just listed as a straight horror movie on IMDb. I know that's not the end all be all with stuff, but I typically take what they have to say.
Yeah, because this one is a horror drama. So I mean, I did take note that this is they bothered giving it two genres.
Yes. I was wondering if it was sort of like an Alien to Aliens thing where you go from horror to just straightforward action with the sequel.
It kind of is. It's really more of a character, because like House of a Thousand Corpses introduces all the characters and their insanity. This one is like so much more of a case study on these characters, and he really fleshes them out and kind of gives you more about them and more of their backstory and all that stuff. So is it a horror movie? Sure, but it's not really focused on horror. I'd say it's much more drama and crime before it is a horror movie.
Yeah, but I was definitely thinking of it as a Western, as like a neo-Western set in the 70s. But they could be, they are like a gang of outlaws, and it even ends with them in a shootout with the law enforcement.
There's a saloon town, for God's sake.
Yes, there is. I think that's deliberate. And he said like he was inspired by The Wild Bunch, which I watched a lot of last night, and just was noticing constant. And it's so, there's so many new Hollywood references with the wipes, the zooms, the handheld camera. Okay, so Devil's Rejects, makes good money at the box office, gets better reviews than his first movie. He follows this up with Halloween, a big hit for him, his biggest mainstream hit. And then Halloween 2, not as big of a hit, but I think of it as a flop. But no, it still made money. It made $40 million on a $15 million budget. Then he made Lords of Salem in 2013, 31 in 2016, 3 from Hell in 2019, and then The Munsters in 2022. And that's the career of Rob Zombie, everybody.
All right. He's short and sweet in all the aspects.
There you go. And I was watching some videos of him performing in 2024, performing a concert. And I thought I would love to go to a Rob Zombie concert. It looks like so much fun. His stage production is so great. He's like a giant guy in a robot costume dancing on stage. It's like Disney World level production.
It's ruining for me how much. I wish I didn't know how short he was.
Oh,
it's really ruining it for me.
Sorry.
I really thought he was over 6 foot too.
That's the aura.
What have you seen him in?
Nothing. My dream.
Okay.
I picture me doing this, not this.
All right, so this movie, folks, it opens with some blues guitar and a scrapbook of murders.
I like that she scrapbooks.
And she is a scrapbooker.
Gotta have your hobbies.
Just like my mother.
And your mom is in this movie.
Oh, she is. You said, hey, that looks like your mom.
Does look like the nurse that pulls over and gets her car stolen and dies. It looks just like Matt's mom.
So, I mean, right away, on-screen text and narration is explaining it. So it's like right away, you're like, oh, this is just Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And they're explaining like, oh, the local authorities are looking for a group known as the Devil's Rejects.
They're like the sticky bandits. Like, quit spray painting your name everywhere. Quit writing in blood every time you kill somebody. The Devil's Rejects were here. Like, stop it.
Although Austin said it's been a year since the first movie. What was taking the cops so long? Hey, I bet it was those freaks who live in that house.
Funding.
Yeah, they needed the money.
I'm assuming that they moved locations because, in the first one they are in a different location. So maybe it got too hot there and they decided to move. So, and then, Sheriff Wydell was just tracking them down.
So it's not that house in the first one? That's not the House of 1,000 Corpses?
It is not. No, that's like the Firefly Ranch. That's what they call it. So
those are like a baker's dozen of corpses. Not 1,000.
I just thought maybe it was a slow day. I don't know. So we see this dead, naked body being pulled through the woods by a giant man wearing a bag over his head like Jason in Friday the 13th 2. Then he pulls off his mask when he sees cops.
Much more Leatherface, but go on.
But he's wearing a bag like Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2.
You're a bag.
I'm a bag.
I got you.
He sees that cops are descending on his house, and this is Tiny. We will find out Tiny Firefly, played by...
Oh, that's the joke you made earlier to Austin.
Yes,
all right.
Played by Matthew McGrory, who was the Guinness Book of World Records holder for tallest actor ever.
Wow.
And he died the year this movie came out at age 32.
Yeah.
But he was also
Gigantism.
in Yes. He was in Tim Burton's Big Fish.
Yeah, he was.
From that.
I remember him from talk shows. Sally Jesse Raphael.
We go into the house and we see this family. Otis sleeping cuddled with a dead naked body. Bill Moseley playing Otis. We love Bill Moseley on our Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 episode. We were celebrating all of that movie, but we loved that performance as Chop Top. Just such a special performance.
Loved it.
Sherry Moon Zombie. How did she get this role? She's playing Baby.
I don't know. She must have auditioned out of hundreds of women.
She's in all of his movies. I liked her in I like her in this, and I liked her in Lords of Salem.
Did she get better at acting?
You don't think she's good in this? She's not effectively being.
I feel the learning curve. She gets good.
She's extraordinarily annoying in House of 1,000 Corpses. She tones it down for this one, for sure. And then she kind of ramps back up to the wild manic energy in 3 from Hell. But I'm like lukewarm on her sometimes. Sure, okay. I think
so
she's
it's
okay.
Not just all right. Good.
No, most people don't even like her to be. I'm up and down with her. Like Lords of Salem, I think is her best performance because she's a normal person living a life. And in these, in the trilogy, the Firefly trilogy, she's just unhinged and wild. So
I feel better about this. I kind of feel about her the way I feel sometimes about Harlequin, depending on who's playing her. It's just like, yeah, I get it. You're a menace. You're annoying, but like you have nothing to fucking say. Like, be smart and cruel, or just shut the fuck up. Quit acting like a baby. It's weird.
That's the point.
It's weird. All right.
The most annoying thing she does is blow on your hair. Like when she does that, I'm like, all right, you need to die.
No, it's the Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees. Look at these. Yes. As soon as that happens, I'm like, where are we? What is this movie?
That did not age well. It did not.
It is unnerving. I don't know. It's kind of on par for her and her fucking Confederate flag ass patch, but yeah.
That's true. That's true.
We're not supposed to admire them. We're not supposed to look to them for a model of how to behave. It's working.
But once Austin said the thing about like it makes you look at what it might actually feel like to be cat. Yeah, it's real and how. What else would people like that be talking about and saying to you if they were toying, like a cat playing with a mouse? You're gonna just like. You're not just in a cage and they're talking about business. You're in a cage and they're fucking with you in that cage. And it's so uncomfortable. But I get it.
Yeah.
And it's not in service of anything greater. It's not in service of a ideological project. It's not for any personal profit.
Right. It's like the Strangers.
They're just really mean and stupid.
Because this is very heavily inspired by the Manson family. Didn't they have some motive or something, right?
They did. Theirs was ideological.
Yes and no. I mean,
Okay.
it was based on there's a coming race war, but then now it seems like it was all a CIA op. Maybe that's a giant question. But the
Jesus.
Manson family, I had a version of this history segment I was going to do where I was going to like center us in the 70s and the golden age of the serial killer, because you had all these things happening over a 10-year period with the Manson family, with the Zodiac, with Son of Sam, and all of that. And this was just like an extraordinarily violent time in America. And, you know, you can do some psychoanalyzing that it's like in reaction to Vietnam, which is happening at the same time. And now this movie is kind of being like a retro version of movies in the 60s, like Bonnie and Clyde, that were like taking a look at our violent culture. But this time we're doing it from the lens of the war on terror of the early 2000s, and the violence is ramping back up again. What do we do with people in the world who are just unhinged evil, not because they have any reason other than they're just following what they want to do?
And they're feeding off of each other's frenzy and the worst character traits in each of them to remain, they fit nowhere else. So I have to match this person's taste for violence. I can never undermine it unless I become suspect. I do feel the whole time that Otis is raising I see chill in baby and daddy. I see zero chill in fucking mama. I'm glad she wasn't in this movie much. Jeez, I'm curious what was she like in the first one, because she makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, she does a good job of that in House of a Thousand Corpses too. So
it's also incesty. I need her to calm down. Calm down.
You need to calm down. Taylor Swift said that once.
She should be in that movie.
She should be in that movie. William Forsythe as the sheriff emerges from a car. This police raid that's about to happen on this compound. The people inside, they're asleep. They're spooning with their corpses. They don't know what's coming down on them. But yeah, William Forsythe as Sheriff Wydell. And he's Laci said it already. He's the Dennis Hopper character from Texas Chainsaw 2, where he's like this avenging angel who like gives himself speeches by himself. He's like, I am a servant of the Lord God, but I'm also the devil.
Red flag. I mean, anytime you're doing the Lord's work and you've decided that that's what you're doing. Okay.
And I like this performance. I think I wish it were a little wilder.
I think it ramps up.
Yeah.
I like the arc.
And very much, this is like by the end of the movie, as he's torturing these people, I'd say what when he kills Mother Firefly, I would say that is a worse thing. That's worse than anything that the killers do, because he is a police officer and he's just executing a prisoner
through the vagina.
I don't think he does it through the vagina. I think he just says that later. But I watched that scene to look.
I know.
And it seems like he stabs her in the stomach.
I know what it seems like, Matt.
yeah.
But the implied.
Yeah. I think I might be with Laci on this one, because it's such a sexually charged scene,
Yes.
but you don't.
Certainly, but
Yeah.
I don't think he literally does it, but
You saw how much blood was in the crotch of that blonde from the beginning? People are fucking crotches hard in this movie.
okay.
Yes.
All right, fine. Yeah, and in film semiotics, stabbing is always
Yes, Matt. You and your dick
suggests penetration.
theory. He loves that.
Yeah, right away, there's just so much jerky handheld camera and a ton of close-ups. There's so many close-ups. And as the movie goes along, this relaxes and the cinematography becomes a little more normal. I think that's another reason I start to like the movie more as it goes along.
But now knowing it's a sequel, and I feel like a fucking idiot for not watching the first one, I get why it's like that. They are like, hey, these are your guys. Hey, look, this is a family. Like, let's get up close. It's that baby you like. It's that Otis you like. I think it's kind of like it feels like like fun. Kind of like, I don't know what it reminds me of. I guess it reminds me of a Western, but it's like introducing your old favorites. It's Crazy Lady and Crazy Mama.
Close-ups of the cops too. It's disorienting. You have no bearing geographically, but yeah, just
Neither do they.
They find out the cops are here, and so they engage in a big shootout. So what do we think of this opening sequence?
It's definitely sets a tone. This is just tricky because knowing where it goes, again, I feel like I'd appreciate this more. I like anything in any movie that's got like a plan and like a back escape and like has their house rigged because they know the law will be coming one day. I like all that. I like how prepared they are. That's all working for me.
I love that. I like this. This might be my favorite line in the movie. The cops start attacking. They all get on their armor and stuff. And baby says to mama, she's like, "Mama, what's the matter?" And it's like, well, what do you think's the matter? But what the mama says is, "I keep remembering good times, like when you was a fucking baby." I like when you was a fucking baby.
It is good.
Times were simpler.
So they're all like saying "I love you" to each other. This is very sweet. There's a fourth brother, I guess, who dies. Who is this fourth brother?
Tyler Mane, that guy who plays Michael Myers in the Halloween movies.
Okay.
He's very
he
quick.
Dies in the first one?
No, he dies in Devil's
here.
Rejects.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very quick. You see his face, the camera like swoops across, and you're like, hey, that's Tyler Mane. I think he has like one line of dialogue, but
okay.
Yeah.
But he plays Rufus T. Firefly, and I've seen Duck Soup many times, but I didn't pick. I was just like, oh, that name sounds familiar, but I didn't clock that it's a Marx Brothers thing until they put Groucho Marx on screen, and I was like, I'm suspecting there's some sort of connect.
You were getting aggravated. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who the ha? What the ha?
Yeah, this is when I realized this isn't a horror movie. This is more like a Western. This is a shoot 'em up. And
except for they do kick the cage of one of the people who are in the cage on their way out, like just to fuck you, just
one last fuck you, just
right. You're about to get found. Fuck you.
And where this goes is the Fireflies successfully kill a couple cops. The cops are struggling to get them because they're wearing heavy armor. I believe Kane Hodder is one of these cops. He's the guy who played Jason 4 times.
Yeah, he's he's the guy with the gas mask on. You see him really quick as well. 2 quick cameos.
No hockey mask, so I didn't recognize him.
Right.
But Baby and Otis escape. The mother gets arrested. The other guy is dead. Oh, and they're wondering like, wait, where's Tiny? He should be here for this great moment.
Keep that in your head.
Yes, and I will admit I totally forgot about Tiny, but I should never have forgotten about Tiny. And then William Forsythe is like about to arrest the mom, and she's like, you're not going to take me alive. She's about to shoot herself, but the gun is empty. Damn it.
Dang it.
So then we have these opening credits, and in montage we see the mom being taken away to jail, Baby and Otis going on the run, making away through the sewers, and
here comes Matt's mom.
My mom. See, they need to steal a car, so you see how crafty they are because she just lays down on the ground.
But also, just punch her. You punch the other lady with the kid. Oh no! See, that's how you know that Captain Spaulding is less severe than the brother. She plays dead, lures the lady over, the brother fucking stabs her to death, and then they take the car. Where Captain Spaulding gets the same job done by just clocking her, does not touch the kid. I was almost out of here. I announced it to the room. If they do something to this kid, I am fucking out. But they didn't.
Man.
She was going to quit the podcast.
I was going to quit.
I was.
That would have been all my fault too. No, I can't have this on my conscience.
I would have showed up.
But no, he didn't. He's a sweetheart. No, I see that too. Yeah, and there's like a thing with like things becoming more extreme with each generation.
Well, because think of what Otis would have had to do to survive in that fucking house. All I can think about is what was it like to be kids here? Your mom is a crazed sex maniac. Your dad looks like that, and you would have to be outdoing each other. You would have to be competing for the most violent one. You would be fucked in a brother and sister relationship. You have no choice.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Yeah, that's exactly why Otis is the way he is. Now that you mention it and put it in that perspective, yeah, I think that's exactly why he is the craziest
being the male,
one.
He's going to bear more from his psychotic dad than, and he's going to be sexualized by his mom. They're just touching everybody in this fucking family.
He can't weaponize his sexuality like his sister can.
No, well, that's why he has to sleep and fuck dead things. He's probably sick of being touched. He's probably sick of the sexuality that is constantly running rampant in his house. It no longer means anything. I just need to fuck dead shit now.
Just needs to feel
something. Yeah. Wow. Man, this movie's been out for 20-something years, and you're giving me just like these different. This is why I love talking about movies. You're giving me completely different perspectives to look at this movie at. That's astute. That is astute. I like that.
That's my favorite compliment.
That's her favorite word.
Yes. That and moxie. Don't you fucking tell me I have moxie, or I will be your best friend.
Only if they add kid. You got moxie.
Kid. Okay.
So
Gotcha.
the news, it's on the news, and they're like, and what is the worst crime since Jack the Ripper went crazy in London? It's the House of 1,000 Corpses. And inside this house,
that's the ranch
I
of
know.
a baker's dozen.
I didn't know that. I wrote in my notes, they found the
Breaking
House of
news.
1,000 Corpses.
We need to get a hat because look, he has a Frightmares hat, and I'm jealous of that hat.
Okay, Lacey.
I'm sorry.
We'll get a hat.
Okay, just one. We'll share it.
Does
I'll
it have
buy
to say
one.
load-bearing beams?
No, it
or-
has to say Frightmares.
Oh, yeah. So absolutely, we can get a Frightmares hat. Hats just look weird on my head. My head is stupid.
Your head is large.
They find a scrapbook, because this woman scrapbooks, with Captain Spaulding in it and Sheriff Wydell. What is his first name, the sheriff?
John Quincy Waddell.
John
Ooh.
Quincy Wydell. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the 6th president. So he finds a picture of Captain Spaulding, and he's like, motherfucker, it's that guy.
I know this mother.
Captain Spaulding, Lacey. Captain Spaulding, a.k.a. Cutter,
Brush your teeth,
is
man.
played by Sid Haig. Can you tell me about Captain Spaulding?
Now, the actor in general, I just love him. I just love his whole look. I want him to be happy with me.
You told me this last night while
I
you
just
were
want to
angry, but you were
please
like,
him.
but I want to please the dad.
I want to please him so bad, but I need him to brush those teeth. And if he's got the fucking, fake teeth that he wears in his commercial, just wear them all the time, Daddy. You're fucking, I get it, but ew. And like lose the sexual side of you. I don't like what you're saying to this lady in your dream. I don't like what you're saying to the lady that lays next to you in real life. Remove all the sex, Daddy. And then you're my best friend. What
Okay.
did you ask me?
Just what's his deal?
I don't. He's a clown. He's clowning.
He's a clown. So what is his job, Austin?
Well,
cars.
in House of 1,000 Corpses, it's to take people around his museum of what do you want to call
Oddities.
it? Oddities. There we go.
Novelties, yes.
And then lead them down to the other down the path to, I guess, murder them. So that's his job. In
How does he make
that
money
movie.
doing that?
They have
It's
money
a-
on them. You take the
yeah.
valuables. You sell them
It's
on
a-
eBay.
well,
No
they-
repeat business though.
Yeah, no, the repeat business is not there, but it's one of those places you're probably only going to go to once because it's off the beaten path. It's on that
Right.
road that connects the two main roads. So that's what he does in that movie. In this movie, it really doesn't go into much of what he does because they're on the run basically from the get-go. So I'm assuming he probably still has the House of 1,000 Corpses because you see the commercial for it at the beginning. And then,
So the commercial is for that house?
I'm pretty well. It's also is it for the? He also has like chicken that he sells there, and it's like a gas station. It's like a whole. It's like a
that
whole
sounds
little
right.
thing. Yeah, it's like a shop as well where he works on where he has someone to work on cars. It's a whole little, not like a.
Little town.
Yeah, it's like a whole little thing.
ecosystem.
So I'm assuming he's still doing that, but yeah, it's not really explicitly explained in The Devil's Rejects. So yeah.
He wakes up next to this very large lady who's very horny, and he's like, "Damn, woman, stop being so horny."
And he's got skid marks on the outside. Why? Why are they outside?
There's a very funny cut where he gets up to go pee, and he starts to pee, and it cuts to coffee being poured in a cup. I was laughing.
Yep.
So they watch his commercial, but his commercial gets interrupted by breaking news. Like, breaking news, the worst crime since Jack the Ripper in London town. And he gets a call from his daughter, and she's like, "Daddy, we're on the run. Meet me at the motel." So he's like, "I gotta go."
Damn, woman.
Yeah. But the next time we see him, he's put his clown makeup on. For what
No,
reason?
no. He wakes up in it. He still has it on.
He does not have it on when he wakes
Look
up.
at
He
him.
has this is the dream where he
Oh.
wakes up with clown makeup on, but then
That's
when he
not
wakes up in
true.
real life, he does not have clown
not
makeup
true.
on. Oh, it's true.
Oh, it's-
Austin?
Yeah, he has it in the dream. If it's on when he wakes up, it's very, 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 very faded. But I'm pretty sure his face is clean until he's seen again. About
He
95%
reapplies it,
sure.
even though he's
Yeah.
on the run now. I got to
he
put my clown makeup
Takes
back
it
on.
off again. Well, I
so
put
they
my
can
face
identify me.
on. Fine.
We check in on this like we can only call like a resort ghost sex town.
I want to go there so bad. I fucking love this place.
Run by Ken Foray from Dawn of the Dead. And I was just so happy. He's also in Lords of Salem. I was just so like, oh, it's so nice that Rob Zombie finds these old legends. And also Michael Berryman from Hills Have Eyes. He's the Mercury in Hills Have Eyes. The big guy, the most famous looking guy from Hills Have Eyes.
That's his sidekick?
Yes.
Okay, I knew he looked very familiar.
Yes. And he's in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest too, which Austin just watched.
Oh yeah,
And
he
then-
is. Ha! Yeah.
So Ken Foray, he's like running this little saloon, this sex saloon, and one of his sex workers, played by E.G. Daly, who is of course Tommy Pickles, and also Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She's working as a sex worker named Candy, and she explains, I'm not making enough money, but I was thinking of doing maybe a Star Wars thing. And Ken Foray is like, I don't know, that makes me nervous. I thought it was funny that he said that makes me nervous, this Star Wars thing. But Captain Spaulding calls up. We realize he and Ken Foray plays Charlie. Charlie and Captain Spaulding are old friends, and they're going to work together. Yes.
Would we understand if we had watched House of a Thousand Corpses where this relationship comes from, or is this a new relationship for this movie?
This is a new relationship for this movie because Ken Foray is not a part of House of a Thousand Corpses. Yeah.
Just checking. All right.
Yep.
But they're both good actors, and you can understand from their performance. You guys are old friends.
No, thanks.
I'm not correcting you.
Whore. Yeah, no.
You're a stupid whore.
You're a stupid whore.
And then we go over to, man, this movie's throwing a lot at us. I was thinking that like when I was watching it for the first time, there's so many characters in this movie. Now we're meeting this group of traveling country musicians. I feel I'm going to have to track them the whole movie. I'm not going to. They're going to die. But for now, Banjo and Sullivan, who are like a pair of married couples, the Sullivans and the Banjos, and then also Brian Posehn, who plays their nerdy roadie.
So random of him to be in this movie.
So random.
Yes, but no, I like the kind of interjection of weird energy. Mm-hmm. He's like, the old guy's like, "Are you smoking dope?" And he's like, "No," or "Yes." Well,
not
now. But I enjoy all of these. These are all just like veteran character actors with very specific faces, and I love to see it. Mm-hmm. Baby comes over and sees Roy Sullivan, the patriarch of this little group, and she's like, "Hey, sexy, you want to fuck me?" And he's like, "What did you say?" What did she say? Yeah, I bet all the girls want to fuck you. And he's like, say that again.
It's like, calm down, baby. Jesus.
And then Otis comes over and he's like, this is a stick up. And they take him into his hotel room, his motel room.
Like, you could have distracted him in a million ways. It didn't have to be like that. Give him an erection and then tell him he's going to go.
That's what she loves doing. That's what she lives for.
Yeah.
Bait and switch, man. Get him all jazzed up thinking he's about to get some. And no, there's a gun in your face. Psych.
Well,
that's a big
also
psych.
Also have a little extra leverage on him with his wife that he just said those things and would have totally gone with her to another hotel room. And it's like he's feeling guilty and scared as soon as he gets into that hotel room.
That's true.
All the emotions.
But yeah, he's like, I guess this young woman wants to fuck me because she saw my face.
The banjo finally paid
and
off.
Decided I'm that attractive. In the motel room, the other people are watching a news broadcast that's like satanic panic going on. There's cults everywhere. We live in a very violent time. And the woman's like, turn that off. It's so ridiculous. And right as she does that, then the crazy devil people invade her motel room. Mm-hmm. Thus begins a long stretch of the movie where they are held hostage in their motel room. Oh, and Brian Posehn comes in and they shoot him in the head immediately.
And then the guy throws up, and then I'm like, okay, different movie. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No. I start short fucking circuiting.
Yeah, you were really. This is it. My major criticism is the motel stuff. Like, and I'm not against. We can get to it when we get to
Let's
that
get
part
to
of
it.
the
Yeah,
movie.
right. I'm not prudish about this stuff. I just needed. I needed to. We'll get to it.
Captain Spaulding he's on the way to meet them, but his truck runs out of gas, so he sees a mother played by PJ Souls from Halloween, and her young son, and he's like, "Hey, I need your car." And you know what she says? She says, "Totally." No, she doesn't. She says, she's like, "Aha, you're a funny clown," and he's like, "I'm not a funny clown, you bitch." And then he punches her real hard. And then scares the shit out of the little kid, really upsetting Laci, but he does allow the kid to live.
And then I'm like, okay, I think I can hang on. That was my line.
That's my favorite scene when he looks at the kids. He's like, "Aren't we fucking funny, kid?" And he's like, "When I come back for you, you better have an answer, else I'm gonna kill you and your whole fucking family." Like, whoa, clown, holy shit. Take it down a notch.
The question the kid has to answer is like, what is your favorite thing about clowns, or what makes you laugh about a clown? It's like a kind of a specific question. Like, dude, your antics.
That kid's going to need therapy for the rest of his fucking life. He's now a bedwetter.
Yeah. Rest of his life.
When the 2017 It, which Austin has a standee from that movie behind him. I remember when that movie came out, there was a new cycle of news stories about real clowns who have always had an issue with Stephen King. They feel like the publication of it in 1986 ruined the clown
lobby.
industry.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, wow.
Because it's like, whenever there's clowns in movies, I'm like, who ever liked a clown? But
It's
I guess
a real-
it was a big thing at a certain point.
But it still is. There are clown. You clown. It's a thing. It's a profession.
But it's not like you don't look like that anymore. It's like they had to get a glow up. Now a clown is like a talented like acrobatic performer. I don't know. If we held a birthday party for a child and hired a clown, what would the reaction be?
What would the kids react? I don't fucking know those kids. I don't know.
Probably fear.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be doing something very unique. But like at the Renaissance Festival, there's a clown and she's delightful. You know, the Renaissance Festival that we've all been to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But so you incorporate other things, like she's a sword swallower, she's a pinhead. You know, different. You know, it's just another way of being a sideshow person.
Wait, what is a pinhead?
A pinhead is a person that can nail something through their bone their sinus cavity.
Oh, that one freaks me out. Oh man.
Yeah,
that
I find
one
that so
gets
much
me.
more upsetting than sword swallowing.
Yeah, 100%.
She can shoot milk out of her eyes.
What?
Because all of this is connected.
Can we get her on the show?
Yes. I have her card.
Just don't get me wet.
Our kid's best friend stapled a $20 bill to her chest.
Oh.
Just like this movie.
This is just like this movie.
As long as you give her 20, you can staple her. I was like, dude, just give her the money. Don't staple. He's like, yeah. Like, well, I'm not taking this kid anywhere again.
All right. That was the last time we went anywhere.
We're back at the motel and baby is doing her Japanese thing. And then Otis is just sitting there and he says to Roy's like, hey, Hoss, you checking out my sister? And he's like, no, sir, I'm a married man. And thus begins a lot of torture and sexual assault. And we're all having a good time. They pull up Roy's wife. They're like, hey, get naked. And then he fondles her with his gun. Okay, you describe it.
No, I don't want anyone to describe it.
Okay.
Good podcast.
Yeah, everyone's crying. It is very upsetting. And now apparently 2 minutes were cut from this section for the theatrical release, but I think it's restored in the version we watched on Amazon Prime.
You can see a theme with this family, and you can tell it's how the children must have been abused as kids, with their parents forcing them to say things, because the brother does it and the sister does it. Tell me that I'm blah blah blah. Tell me you like it. It's just, and they both do it, and there's just something so fucking gross.
Yeah, that's my only problem with this movie is that part of the motel scene is I don't like any of that stuff done towards women, or I mean really anybody, but especially women, because I feel like it's done too much to women in movies, especially horror movies. So that's like, it's my same problem. Sorry, side tangent. It's my same problem with the Halloween director's cut that Rob Zombie put out for DVD and Blu-ray. The theatrical cut has Michael Myers escaping and murdering 7 or 8 people in the most gory way. He replaces that scene, takes that scene out, and includes a rape scene for and I'm like, why are we removing the best part of the movie with something that I never want to see ever? So yeah, he has a weird thing with kind of rapey moments, and I'm just like, let's just not put those in there, because this movie would have been fine without all of that. So that's my biggest problem with this movie.
I know that what he would say is like, this is supposed to be upsetting, this is supposed to be dark, these are very bad people, and I'm letting you know how bad they are. And in this hypothetical thing he says to me, I'd be like, yeah, I agree. I don't know. This is not enjoyable to watch, but I get that the point is for you to be very, very upset, and for you to have no reason to have any sympathy with the bad guys in this, with the main characters of the movie, to see how totally depraved they are,
and to be unsettled for the rest of the time. This scene is doing a lot of the work for the rest of the movie, because you don't know.
Right.
It will go anywhere. Is it going to go somewhere again where I'm,
because it puts that out there. It puts it out there like, hey, we've done this once. It's entirely possible we'll do this again. I mean, thank God they don't. But yeah, once you put that out there, it makes you worry for the rest of the runtime. Like, are we going to go back into this territory again? Because I really, really just don't want to.
And I think a big part of it is because they do it in 3 or 4 scenes. It's not one. It's here we are now. We're gonna take your husbands and they're going to walk and it's going to be a very dramatic way that I'm going to kill them now, which is fucking prolonged as shit. That whole beating them thing and torturing and all that. And then yet another scene. Well, meanwhile, back at the fucking hotel, Baby is torturing the women who are going to be killed. Like, let's just get on with it. It's a lot of the movie for it to not be any of the movie after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
it's like,
I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it.
Yeah. It's a rough scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's sort of my big criticism of the movie. And I'm not somebody who thinks you can't show stuff like this on screen. You absolutely can. Can it be in a fun movie? I don't know, because the rest of this movie seems like it should be fun. I should be having fun with how over the top and pulpy this all is.
Yeah.
But anyway, this all happens and Baby starts blowing on people's hair. And I'm like, that's the worst thing anybody does in this movie.
Stop blowing on it.
Otis takes these two men out on a mission when he's done with playing with them. And then we go see Sheriff Wydell going to visit Mother Firefly behind bars.
Now, I didn't know that it wasn't confirmed for him, or he seems to not know that these are the people that killed his brother until she whips out the pictures and then he gets enraged. So maybe I just didn't understand. Like, no, he sought them out because of this and now he's seeing it and that's why he's getting repissed.
Right. Yeah. He knew this going into it and seeing it just reaffirms that, like, yeah, this is exactly why I'm here. And to rub this in, she's basically rubbing it in his face that because she's the one, Mother Firefly is the one who killed his brother in House of a Thousand Corpses. So that scene is really powerful. And that's why he's so pissed, because he knows that she's the one who killed his brother.
And he's of so little consequence to her that he's in a scrapbook that hasn't been put together yet. That it's like, I've been meaning to get around to this. It was a year ago. What are you doing with your downtime? And she rubs it in that, like, I just hadn't gotten around to it.
Yep.
Here he is.
Oh, I like she opens the scrapbook and she sees her daughter. She's like, isn't she an angel? But he's like, I'm going to kill your little angel unless you tell me where they are, and then I'll bring them in alive. Now the whole time she's like the Joker. You can beat her up and she just laughs. I enjoy the violence against me. Ha 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 ha. And it drives you mad. You know, what do you do with this kind of evil? How can the law even react? Maybe the law can't react. Maybe you have to go above the law.
He certainly does with that, and gets very, very unhinged by the end, I would say.
Well, and he, like, in the first interaction between them, he starts beating her up. And
right.
That's why, I definitely think it is pointedly the cop, the arm of the law, which is supposed to represent, like, law and order in this deteriorating world, is violating, like, the most basic ideas we have about justice and how law enforcement officers, officers of the court, etc., are supposed to behave. Right, you can just start beating up prisoners.
You're not supposed to up the ante. You're not supposed to out terrorize the terrorist. You're supposed to bring it down or keep it level.
Right.
And I think Rob Zombie is trying to play with your sympathies here, because presumably you're rooting for him. You're rooting for William Forsythe.
It'd be so hard to like the whole time.
But he's doing things like beating up a woman. Now, it's an evil woman, but beating up a prisoner. Yeah, Otis has the two men. He's like, we're going to get some guns. Some guns I buried a few years ago. Then what? Well, there ain't no what. That's the end of the road. And I love the guy's like, mister, you don't mean to kill us or nothing. And he's like, listen, yeah, pretty much. And he the younger one picks up a log and like hits him on the head. There's several opportunities where these dumb people could get away, and
they're scared, Matt. They're not dumb. They just don't do this all the time.
No, here's what I would do. I would I know. Oh, I would be terrible. I'd be so dumb. I'd be pissing and shitting myself.
I know. There'd be so much pee and poo.
Yeah. And Otis, Bill Moseley, He stabs the younger one is Adam, stabs him in the neck, and he's like, you brought this on yourself. I was going to take it easy on you, but now you're going to bleed to death.
No, he doesn't. The gun goes off. He gets shot in the neck.
Oh, shoots him in the neck, yes. What?
Yeah.
Fucking hack.
Yes. Okay, you explain.
You
then,
watched
Laci.
it twice.
You don't want to explain anything. You explain.
No, I don't want to.
But then crucially, he goes over to Roy, and Roy is dying or whatever. And he's like, I want you to pray to your God to save me. And Roy is like, God, please bless the bunnies and the flowers.
It's like, that man doesn't pray. He's
Nope.
just doing this for you. That's not, as an ex-religious person, that is not how you pray.
Correct.
That's how you pretend to pray.
And so what Otis says is, no, it's not going to work. I am the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's work.
It's like you just wanted to say your little thing. Okay, Jules.
Yeah.
And then a vengeance upon you. Yeah, I got it. Say your fucking piece, man.
So this is, again, the movie hammering home. These are evil fucking people. They have no morals at all.
And there's a little bit of hope. Like, I mean, you're just with the ladies. Maybe you can get down a fucking notch. But no, one of them needs to pee, and because baby doesn't need to let you do anything, she says, well, what are you going to do for me? And, well, what do you want? I want you to slap her as hard as you can. And at this point, I'm like, just pee. Just pee. You're naked from the waist down. Just pee. What are you doing? Why are you? Okay, I guess I'll take you up on that. And slaps her good twice. Again, I don't get it. Like, just pee. But then I realized, oh, you're trying to escape. Okay, you weren't going to go pee. I'm stupid. I realized it. Anyway, all right. So
Very astute.
fuck off. All right. So she gets to get up and get bathroom privileges, and immediately breaks the window. I mean, she's doing a good job in terms of escaping, but it's a little loud. So she goes for the bathroom, and I think that's when she's distracted enough for the older lady to get the gun.
Yeah, and then baby's like,
I hate you.
You can't shoot me. You can't shoot me, lady. I never did nothing to you. And
I
then
hardly did anything.
then throws a knife into her
Well,
fist,
and
whatever this is
Her
called.
heart.
the gun's not loaded too. She's like, it's
Right.
just for effect. You're like, God damn, there's nothing in the gun. Son of a
Nothing
bitch.
at all.
You already
Yeah,
shot
because
someone to death.
Baby's
so
like,
Right.
go ahead and shoot me. In fact, and she pulls down her pants, shoot me in the ass. And she pulls the trigger and nothing happens. She's like, see, it's all mind powers. This is just like Severance and Lumen. We're all about how we can control you by keeping you confused.
Except for that they killed someone with a gun only like fucking 20 minutes ago.
That is
That's
true,
true.
yeah.
It's a
Different
little
gun.
different. Little different. And then Wendy runs out of the hotel room and runs right outside into Captain Spaulding the clown, who has arrived at the hotel. And then his face morphs into Groucho Marx's. And at this point, I was like, what
What?
the fuck is happening? So we dive into the Marx Brothers now.
And someone from Film Talk joins the
Yes.
movie.
Can we get a film talk guy in here to explain to us movies? And this guy they have come in to explain the history of the Marx Brothers. And what I love is how annoyed the cops are with him.
Like, we just need you to give me this piece of paper. I don't need all the other shit, man. I
Because
don't.
he's just rattling off Marx Brothers trivia and then stuff not related to the Marx Brothers. Groucho Marx was in an Otto Preminger movie. Otto Preminger once directed whatever. But yeah, all the aliases that everybody is using are from Marx Brothers movies. Captain Spaulding is from Animal Crackers. Rufus D. Firefly is from Duck Soup. And one of the cops is like, I think we should go talk to this Groucho Marx.
I get that we understand now that, okay, these are all, but we don't understand why. There's never an explanation as to what's the importance.
So why is it?
I know he's just a big fan of Groucho Marx, and he's also a fan of the Munsters. If you notice, that might have been House of a Thousand Corpses. It was either in House of a Thousand or Devil's Rejects. There's a clip of the Munsters. But yeah, it's not overly explained in the movie. And I don't know, besides him just being a fan of his work and stuff like that. I think he just did it because, like homage for some weird reason.
I guess, but you think it's going to lead to something, and all it actually leads to is that he figures out an accomplice of his based on the fact that he's also named something.
Right, yeah.
The guy that owns the slut town is also a Marx Brothers.
But if you're looking for like a thematic connection,
I'm not.
my guess would be the word people used to describe the Marx Brothers was anarchic. They were not in their comedy. They were not bound. They played characters who were not bound by rule. They were moving in polite society circles, but not following the rules. And thus, the dowager lady always gets very upset. Oh boy! So maybe it's that. It's like, we don't have to follow your rules.
Okay.
But they're like, why don't we go?
And aren't there three of them?
The classic lineup has three, but there was
There used to be four and one died.
there used to be four, and then people were like, that fourth one doesn't seem to do anything. Zeppo, and then there was actually even a fifth one, Gummo, who's even less well known.
So mom and dad,
There you
bye-bye.
go,
I mean,
Lisa.
mom and brother.
Making connections here. I love this.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for, babe.
Yeah, can we go talk to Groucho Marx? You idiot, he died a few years ago. And then one of them's like, yeah, he died the same day Elvis died or whatever.
Gyrating. Don't you ever say nothing about
And the
Elvis
film guy
here
gets
in
very
press.
upset that Elvis stole Groucho's thunder. So then Sheriff Lydell, he's like, don't you insult the king. Now get this Hollywood pussy out of here.
So you see, Matt, it's not just about criminals. This guy's violent with whoever aggravates him.
Mm-hmm.
And then just for good measure, he says, and fuck Groucho. It's kind of funny.
It's good stuff.
He needs a nap.
He needs a Snickers. He's not himself.
Yes. Yes.
Sheriff, you're not yourself when you're hungry. You say things like, fuck Groucho. Otis returns to the motel and he's now wearing Adam's face skin. He's like, I'm crazy. Now you have to wear it, bitch. He puts it on top of it.
Which it's just a little love note to TCM2 and to Leatherface. That's the only fucking purpose. Because I don't take this guy as someone who takes a lot of time to skin. The only skinner he likes is Leonard. But it's just, I don't know. And then they leave her alive. Who knows what they did to her? They hang her on a fucking hook. Also, original
Halloween.
I was thinking of Texas Chainsaw.
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, the original. But okay, so the fucking maid or housekeeper finds her. She's completely freaked out and doesn't know to take the thing off of her face. So it's just a chase scene, which I think is just to give you a Pet Cemetery moment, I guess. Because why else hit her with the fucking
Pet Cemetery?
Well, she gets hit with the 18-wheeler
Yeah.
in the vast open highway. I mean, I assume that's the only reason. Why else even have that scene?
It's like, well, Texas Chainsaw famously ends with the girl running out into the street.
And getting saved.
And getting saved. So this is an inversion of that.
Yeah.
Fine. I think she'd had enough, though.
And she really gets splattered. Just squished.
I've never seen quite a splatter. A rose such a clatter did that.
A rose such a clatter.
Rose such a splatter
Yeah.
into goo. You've not seen goo like this.
And then still some of her body was there. So it's like, anyway.
Yeah.
And then like the back and just the racist shit with the fucking housekeeper now, and I think it's all just to show you like this cop's not nice. This world isn't nice.
Well, no. The cops are being kind of they're I don't understand this Mexican nonsense, but then
he speaks
the
Spanish.
sheriff goes up and speaks Spanish to her and then says some like nice things to her. So see, he is kind of a nice guy, you see.
Don't go against what I say.
Sorry.
Okay.
But he's like, I found the perfect men to help me on my quest to arrest these guys. I got Danny Trejo and Diamond Dallas Page.
Diamond Dallas.
DDP, who looks so much like The Undertaker. It was confusing.
Yes, he does.
A much more famous wrestler. But he's very imposing here. And DDP towers over Danny Trejo, who is himself a scary man.
Right, yeah.
But
He always plays lovable scary though. Yeah.
well, later
It's the shape of his head.
they call up the sheriff has like a dream where he goes to see his brother George, and he's like, my brother, I have to tell you, avenge me, kill them. And he's like, well, I was already going to do that, but okay, now I'm going to take it even more seriously. And he gets a call from Danny Trejo saying, we have a lead. Charlie, you know that sex ghost town? Yeah, he's an associate and we're going to go make stuff happen. Okay, good.
Okay.
And then we have the scene where he goes back to Mother Firefly in prison and just like gives her a speech about how like I'm the devil's arm of the Lord of the Justice or whatever, and just stabs her repeatedly.
No, he does not. Sabri. One, he just right in the vagina, then up, and then turns,
Okay, one
giving her a
stab,
gasm,
not repeated.
and then a death. It is. This mom thinks a lot of herself.
Yeah.
She
What do you
finds
mean?
she finds herself very attractive and does not think men can resist her. She's a little bit past her day, but this constant like tongue licking her teeth and licking the lips. It's like she's doing an impression of sexy. She also signals someone who is abused, obviously and clearly sexually abused, because she's like what a kid thinks is sexy. She's like stuck. She's
You don't find her sexy?
no, it's not working for me. No.
And she's even weirdly rougher in House of a Thousand Corpses.
I imagined, yes.
Yeah. She's pretty gritty in that one, so.
And Austin, you said she killed she killed his brother. So it makes sense that he has this vision of his brother, and then he goes to kill her. And it's like, all right, the law here is not going to apply. I'm no longer a cop. I am a brother.
And I don't disagree. If they are in your sight, kill them. Kill them dead. Don't fucking give them a trial.
Okay, but the world is worse if cops are just killing.
I get it.
Like that creates way more.
But baby's hot. The brother can clean up. I'm just saying, fucking jurors are swayed by good-looking people.
Yeah, he just has to take a shower, maybe run a comb through his hair and his beard, brush your teeth, throw on some cologne.
Yes, I'm yelling, take a bath. I yelled it so many times at this movie.
She did. I was there. I'm just saying. I know I'm not. I know y'all agree with me. It's just the world is worse if cops just illegally kill people than if serial killers are allowed to run free. Like it is more dangerous. The former is more dangerous than the latter. But we go back to that resort town where Cutter drives his family up and Charlie comes out and he does, well, this is almost literally the Lando Calrissian thing where he's like, you got a lot of nerve to show your face. And he's like, who, me? And he's like, yeah, put your hands up. I'm going to murder you or something, and then squirts him with the water gun. And then they just start laughing so loud and hugging and stuff.
It's such a relief because it's the first time you're seeing these three characters in a place where they make sense. You're just like, okay, there is a world for you. I don't know what you're implying about sex workers and black men, but you at least
wait. In what?
That this is the setting. This is where they can find their people because these other people are sinners as well and damned as well.
I'm not saying it's the only place. It's just these specific people. They're here.
That's supposed to be their like safe place to go.
Yeah.
Where they think that the law can't harm them in any way, and then of course that gets flipped in about 20 or 30 minutes of them being there, or however long they're there. They're not there very long before shit hits the fan.
I assumed this would be the rest of them. I assumed it would be like From Dusk Till Dawn. Like now we arrive at this very weird sort of parallel reality strip club, but no. But I realized Charlie, Ken Foray, first like Lando Calrissian and Han Solo. It's like, you got a lot of nerve showing up here. Haha, just kidding. I'm your friend, but then I'm going to betray you. But I'm going to be reluctant about betraying you, and I'm going to help you in the end.
Because he's unnerved by, I think anyone in the presence of Captain Spaulding knows they need to meet it or be defeated. Like, you have to stay cool to him and keep his interest, or you will just die. He's a person that will make you die.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you have to.
He wasn't excited about him coming. You saw the phone call that they had. He was like, fuck. I have to I'm going to need a lot of Coke. Tommy Pickles' mom. I'm going to also need a bunch of pussy.
Not Tommy Pickles' mom, Tommy Pickles. But yes,
Tommy Pickles.
No, it's a good point. Yes.
Little baby ass down here.
Yes, all bullies are very exhausted that they have to be bullies around other bullies. Like, God, it's just so much.
This is going to be expensive. You better fucking fry me chicken. I'll go get the chicken, but you're going to make it.
I love this though. I love he's like, all right, well, let's get inside and get to fucking. No sense standing around and together they say slow foot roosters in a fuck farm. I will never not laugh when two people say a non-famous saying.
Right.
Together.
Yeah.
Like you and your dad saying you're a fool, Sinclair.
Yes. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Okay. The next day. Goodness. The sheriff runs into Charlie and he's like, come over here, Charlie. Hey, you got those fireflies? You keep them there at your place because we're coming to get them tonight. And if you don't do it, I'll shoot you dead.
I'll squish your fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll do it then.
And he tells Danny Trejo and DDP, he's like, listen, keep them alive just long enough so I can piss on them. And Danny Trejo's like, listen, Sheriff, you're using a bazooka to exterminate roaches. To exterminate roaches, you have to think like a roach to kill a roach. Lacey's always saying this when there's a roach in our house. She's like,
everybody,
what does the roach want? I'm like, what does the roach want?
The bottom of a refrigerator?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to answer.
Everyone acts like the bottom of our refrigerator.
So
finally, baby takes a bath.
Finally, yes.
Yes.
And I start to feel a little bad for her. Like, oh, she was just taking a bath. She wasn't doing anything evil. Maybe she was. We just don't see it.
You don't have to be medieval. Medieval.
Hold on a second.
She has. It's fair. She has done enough bad stuff. But like Charlie and Cutter, they're snorting coke together. I can't say Cutter without sounding
saying it like
Cutter.
That. Okay.
Cutter.
They're snorting coke together, and then Charlie goes to the bathroom. He's like, I'm going to leave you alone now. No reason. And then he leaves, and then the sheriff comes in, and he's like, "Here I am, motherfucker." And then meanwhile, DDP and Danny Trejo come in, and they take the other kids, they take Baby and Otis hostage as well.
I do wish they'd shoot them in their limbs a few more times. At least like you don't have to kill them, just make them not mobile.
That's the thing. Yeah, you're planning on torturing them. You immobilize them right away.
Right.
Shoot them in the legs.
Yep.
But later on he gets some kind of rise out of chasing her around, and it's like, you're not as fast or as smart as her, and you brought her to her fucking turf, you idiot.
Mm-hmm.
This is like wanting to torture the guys from TCM 2 by bringing them to their underground lair. Who's gonna fucking know how to get around in here better than us?
Exactly. The people that live there.
Stupid.
On a day-to-day basis.
To that point, Cutter says to him, like, "You're going to kill me. You need to just kill me and make sure I'm actually dead. Because if not, we always seem to win, it seems like.
Foreshadowing.
So he takes the 3 fireflies away in his cop car. And Charlie's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, but business is business." So they go back to their compound, to the Firefly Ranch, and he has them all tied up in chairs, does Sheriff Wydell, and he gives them a speech about how he's from a long line of devil slayers.
As soon as the speech comes, you're like, nope, they're alive. They're fucking getting out of this one. This guy can't shut up.
That's the thing. And he's like, "I tried to walk the path of righteousness, but I tried to walk the line, but I realized there is no line." Guys, this is the inevitable conclusion of American empire and carnage.
Oh, thank you.
We're going into the Middle East to destroy it but in doing so, we just make things worse. We exist in an eternal feedback loop with violence. We cause the violent people to escalate, and then we have to escalate in response. So Wydell, he's like, "I'm going to staple photos of your victims onto you." And then he literally crucifies Otis, drives nails through his hands. And like, that's very deliberate imagery from Rob Zombie.
Noticed Baby's pants are around her legs. What the fuck?
No, that's you're looking at a stool with
pants on it?
No, I don't think those are pants. Sorry, Austin.
Oh, it's a stool full of pictures. It looks like blue jeans down
Let's
around
try
her.
putting our slideshow up.
Sorry. Yeah, usually when we've had a slideshow this whole time, and usually though when we do that, it makes the guest lag, so that's why we didn't do it. But
no, it does. The screenshot I have looks like she has her pants pulled down, but no, there's a stool in front of her with I think a stack of photos on it.
Oh my God.
But yeah. So he's like the photos of their dead mom. He's like, "Look, I killed your mom." Like, "You didn't kill Mama." He's like, "No, I swear I did. I totally did." So he sets the house on fire, and then he sets Baby free because he's like, he also is just totally demented and is just like, I want to play with my prey like you guys do it.
But why her? Because she's the most like the mom?
Why her? Yeah.
It has to be that, right? It has to be that she's her mom's angel.
Maybe
That's what he said.
because maybe that, but maybe she will put up the least amount of struggle, least amount of fight. Maybe.
No, you're right. He can overpower her. He thinks,
and also the patriarchy.
Well, he did tell the mom, like, "I'm going to fuck your angel."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's true. Yeah.
Isn't she an angel? But she makes it into a barn, and Charlie is there. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry I betrayed you, but now I'm unbetraying you. I'm going to help you. Here, get in this car." But no, the sheriff is there with an axe, and he kills Charlie, and then he is chasing Baby with the axe, and then all of a sudden Tiny from the beginning of the movie returns, and I was like, "Oh right, that's how the movie started." Now here he is. He just snaps the sheriff's neck, and that's that. And she's like, "Daddy and my brother, I forgot his name, are inside. Go get him." So they do, and they're all fine. And they get into a car and they leave Tiny behind for whatever reason. They're like, "We'll miss you, but we'll come back for you, maybe."
Probably.
Okay, and so now Laci keeps getting madder with every scene. She's like, "Why won't this movie end?" This is a long movie. I feel like this movie shouldn't be longer than 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours. It's a bit long.
I think horror movies really, really have to earn it if you want to go above 90 minutes.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly with that. Yeah.
But Freebird starts playing, and like this whole movie has been full of expensive music.
And I'm like, this is Rob Zombie using his fucking industry connections. These are a lot of expensive songs. And if you're going to get the rights to fucking Freebird, I'm like, just settle in. It's going to be a 7-minute scene. They're not going to not use the whole goddamn song.
Yes.
Especially because the crescendo thing part's so good. So we're just going to watch this car drive
But
for
you know what my
6.5
takeaway was?
fucking minutes. What?
Money well spent. It's a good song.
It is a good song.
It's like, hey, that's a good song. But they're like driving cross country with this song playing, and it's intercut with video footage, like home video footage of them being happy together, a wholesome family. And you know the song "I'm as free as a bird, this bird you cannot tame."
It's just the three of them, though. It's them dreaming about it. It's not what's already happened. These are the only 3 left alive, so we can't see the mom and the other brother. That wouldn't make sense. We're supposed to think they're about to be okay.
Okay. I mean, the effect is the same of having to literally look at these monsters as still a family who love each other, and look how sweet they are together. But they're as free as a bird, this bird you cannot tame. They have rejected conventional morality, rejected your bourgeois values, and you'll never stop us. Never, never, never. Oh shit, a police blockade. And so, knowing they're going to die, they take out their guns. And they haul ass, and they take out some cops.
It's an effective
and I think
scene.
it's cool as hell. I
like
love this
it.
ending.
Yeah, I like the ending.
And plenty of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the Wild Bunch, Bonnie and Clyde. They end this way.
Thelma and Louise.
Thelma. Well, that doesn't end with them shooting cops, though.
Yeah,
right?
but they end on their own terms by killing themselves
yeah.
to get away from the thing that they're not wanting to run into.
So I guess Butch and Sundance do that too.
Were you more happy with the ending because you liked the ending, or because the movie was just done and over with and you didn't have to do this anymore?
No, I like that they were all dead. I was going to be pissed if they were still alive. I needed that. Felt like the right ending to me.
Boy, you're really going to hate that there's a sequel to this movie where they're not all dead.
What the fuck?
Free from Hell, which like 14 years later he made that one.
Yeah.
No, see, I liked, at this point I had fully liked the movie. Lacey and I were very divided on the movie. And I think that my annoyances with the way just Rob Zombie, and this is his second movie, I'm sure he got really matured as a filmmaker, because I thought Lords of Salem was great, directed really, really well. As this movie goes along, I feel like he's not doing as many like young filmmaker tricks, just kind of settling in and letting things play out in front of the camera. And I just love this ending. And it's just a classic sort of Western outlaw ending. And then the movie's over.
Except for that he's going to play the credits over a road shot, a shot of like a drone going down the road. So this ends and I'm like, oh good, it ended. And then cut to the fucking drone footage of the road. I'm like, no more. Oh, credits. Okay.
Oh, but then directed by Rob Zombie.
Okay.
So we're okay.
Yay.
I love how it starts with the bang and ends with the bang. You start with a shootout and end with a shootout. Cyclical plot.
So we're going to go around the room and give our final thoughts and star ratings.
Fuck, I didn't do that.
Starting with, I know it's weird that we're doing this.
Stop picking on me.
Austin, what do you think? Star rating and sort of final thoughts. Synthesize everything we've said over these
Okay.
105 minutes.
So on a basic level, I just enjoy the cast, the soundtrack that Rob Zombie puts in there. I like the gritty camera work, and I think it's shot on 16, maybe 35. It's shot on film, which I love. I just love how the movie's put together as a whole. And again, it's just about this curmudgeon-y, villainous family who you shouldn't be rooting for, which I'm sure most people aren't rooting for, but weirdly I am, because I do feel like they try to make Sheriff Wydell worse than them, because what we've been talking about, how he is the law and should just be putting them in jail. But it's just this gritty, raw, just disturbing film that for some reason works for me. I rate my stuff on Letterboxd, so I don't know if that's what I assume that's what you guys used. So for me, Like I said, it's my only real problem is that motel scene. It's my only like flaw with it. So for me, it's a 4.5 out of 5. So we're like near 5-star, which is probably a lot higher than I'm assuming you guys rated it, and that's totally fine.
You skew to the high end in all your ratings, though. You're just a very nice person.
I am very generous with my ratings.
You are. You just give half stars based on like one good detail.
I always think I'm too generous. I look at my ratings. I'm like, I gave that 5 stars. Jesus. Well, is it your favorite Rob Zombie movie?
No, a severely hot take. Halloween is my favorite of his, and why I like it more than the original is because I saw that one first.
Oh,
yeah, I saw Rob Zombies before I saw the 78. So. And when you get an explanation for Michael Myers and you're like, oh, that's cool. And you go back and watch John Carpenter's and you're like, there's no explanation. Oh, this is stupid.
Yeah, that's why it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want an explanation.
Exactly. And I was like, I already got the explanation. Why didn't he explain it? So I saw them totally. Yeah. My history with horror is very, very bizarre. So.
That is a hot take.
That's probably my hottest take. Yeah, that's probably my hottest take. But I still think the original, don't get me wrong, the original Halloween is still a very good movie. I think I've given it like a 4 or 4.5 out of 5. So it's still a fantastic movie.
Even you saying that is a scorching hot take. Jesus.
Okay.
You are walking on hot coals. My God, I can't stand it.
I know.
He loves Black Christmas.
Sorry.
Okay. God.
I can redeem myself in other ways. Just give me a movie that I should be rated 5 stars, and I'll say that.
Is that right?
No. I appreciate the hotness of the take, and I like that you defend it. And yeah, there's so often it's when did we see things, and then it's sort of the premise of me and Laci's podcast is they just get into your brain and they won't go away
because we are not purely logical people.
And I've always appreciated with his Halloween that because he's a filmmaker with a distinctive style, he puts it in there. You know, it's a Rob Zombie Halloween movie.
And I will enjoy that about a director any day. A signature.
It's what I say that I want from directors all the time. Like even if I don't like your movies, I love that I can tell it's your movie. And I do like Rob Zombie. I like him as a person. I give this movie 3 out of 5 stars. Talking about it I think maybe is making me bump up
that happens a lot.
My rating, because mostly I've said things that I like. I think I was so brought down by the motel sequence, which goes on for a long time, that I was having a tough time engaging with the rest of the movie. But I think that I do think there's political commentary here if you're looking for it. I think it being made at the height of the Iraq War is not a coincidence, and that it's sort of hearkening back to movies that were not explicitly about Vietnam, but made during Vietnam. And so we're commenting on Vietnam, and we just exist in this endless cycle of violence, and we're never going to be able to get out of it.
Moral depravity.
I gave Lords of Salem 4 stars. I give this 3 stars, but it was really fun to talk about. And I will watch House of a Thousand Corpses. I think that seems more my vibe because I do like just carnival freak shows. And in this movie, I love his commercial, Captain Spaulding's commercial.
I have an idea for the future here, because you guys have never seen House of a Thousand Corpses, right?
No. I have, but I do not have any memory of it.
So,
except for that one.
Since we're doing the history of horror on my show, when 2003 comes around, maybe I have you guys on in 2003 and we talk about House of a Thousand Corpses. Just an idea to throw out there.
I love that.
We have to wait till 2003?
Wait, but how many episodes is that? Yeah. Let him do it the way he wants to do it, Matt, you fucking wiener.
No, my joke was that it's going to be 2003 again in the real world.
Oh, I know.
We're gonna come back full circle back to 2003.
Yes.
It's gonna be a minute.
No, we'd love to do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely. Laci, final thoughts and star ratings?
I'm between a 2.5 and a 3 because I also skew higher. I care very much about rewatchability, but I can still give a 5-star rating to something that I will never watch again, and I've done that before. But like, would I recommend this? It depends on who you are. I don't fucking 2.75. I don't know. Yeah. It just was. Is the payoff worth getting through what does not pay off? I don't think I can lily pad on this movie. I don't think I can wait for the good. But it does make me wish I could see them in different settings. So maybe I would like 3 from Hell or where the fuck.
Like the Civil War?
Yes. No, like just, I want to see what else these characters do without the hotel scene.
I think you might like, I think you guys are probably going to like House of a Thousand Corpses a lot more because it's not as, it still has the depravity, but it's not nearly as fucked up and heinous as this movie is.
I like really fun depravity. Yes. It with like Texas Chainsaw, I clearly like that. And you know, it's just that I think he made it too real.
Yeah.
In this movie. The tone was all over the place for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
We loved talking to you, and we want to encourage everybody to check out the Frightmares podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And we also have links to Austin's social media in the description. But tell everybody one more time about your podcast.
All right. So Frightmares podcast, this is, I think this year is season 7. We're doing the history of horror from 1975 to 2025, one movie a year. Again, I'm not sure when this is coming out, but we're doing the 80s now. So we're doing, the next month is The Howling, Poltergeist, Christine, and Firestarter. Those are the next 4 coming out. A couple Stephen Kings in there, a lot of good stuff. And yeah, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher app, all at Frightmares Podcast. If you want to email me, shoot me a line. It's stayspooky@outlook.com. I think that's it.
Well, you have been a pleasure.
Yes, and now I hesitate to bring this up because I was like, I wanted to tell this story because of something that...
I don't know what it is.
I've been wanting to tell this story on the podcast for a long time, and I don't know if it should. This might get deleted. Okay. I was listening to your episode about Deep Red, Dario Argento's Deep Red.
Oh, no. Yeah, okay.
No, my story is just about that movie because I've seen that movie a couple times. I always have struggled with it. I like other Argento movies, but okay. I learned the way I learned about this movie. I told you guys my film snob upbringing would not have brought me to Italian horror. That would have seemed like beneath the likes of Roger Ebert. So the way I learned about his movie Deep Red is I was working in a law firm on a divorce case, and I had to go. This couple was getting divorced. And I had to go through their text messages to find evidence of the wife being unfaithful to the husband. And so the person she was being unfaithful with, the person she was having sex with, was her brother.
Ah!
So I was reading all these very intimate and sexy texts between a brother and a sister, but they're also just talking about things they like, and they talk about horror movies they like, and they mention Deep Red. And so I wrote that down. I was like, I should check that movie out.
How have you never told me this?
I think I have.
Oh, well, I understand why I deleted it.
So in a conversation between a brother and a sister, in between their sexts and stuff, I got a nice little movie recommendation from it.
Wow,
that's my story about Deep Red.
That's the most out-of-pocket way to hear about a Italian. Wow.
And I was not prepared for that movie because I had no understanding of what it would be. I was like, why does it sound like this?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Italian horror.
Check out Frightmares, everybody, and check out Dario Argento's movies. And check out Load Bearing Beams on social media, Load Bearing Pod on Twitter, TikTok load.bearing.beams, Instagram Load Bearing Beams, Blue Sky Load Bearing Beams. And we don't know what our next episode is. We're recording this a few weeks ahead of time, so Enemy Mine, the 1985 Wolfgang Peterson directed film starring Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. under a lot of makeup.
Check out our Severance series.
Yes,
we fucking YouTube. Rock at that. If you like the show Severance, you will like our weekly recap. You just will.
You just
We're
do
different.
It. Just do it. And we can find us on Letterboxd Matt Stokes 9, Load Bearing Laci. Follow Austin on Letterboxd as well. Why don't you? And my
Proctor,
the music.
Doctor, what is your name? Dr. Proctor?
Dr. Proctor, that's it.
And the music on Load Bearing Beams is by my band Rural Route 9, including the song you're hearing right now. Links to that in the description. That's it. That's the end of the episode.
Okay, I love you. Goodbye.
Three, four. Everybody, love bearing beams, love bearing.